Well, reports in Canada say a number of people in the country are turning to euthanasia as a solution to their financial troubles. COVID-related deaths and a lack of affordable housing have created dire financial situations, causing individuals to take their own lives. And joining me now to talk more about this is Alex Schadenberg, Executive Director of the Euthanasia, that is, Prevention Coalition. Alex, thank you so much for coming on today to talk about this. We appreciate it. If you don't mind, can you talk to us a little bit more about this alarming trend that is taking place in Canada, your country?
Okay, so what happened is euthanasia was legalized in Canada in June of 2016 after a court decision the year before. And then last year, the government expanded the law by saying you didn't have to be terminally ill. So now we've had these cases of people with chemical sensitivities and other disabilities who are basically asking for euthanasia because their living conditions are so poor. Like someone with chemical sensitivities would have a difficulty being in an apartment building if there's people smoking or smoking pot or whatever next to them, because they just can't breathe, they can't live, they're reacting to it, and they've been asking for medical aid in dying, euthanasia, and they've been dying that way. Just so you know, just 2 weeks ago, we saved a life. A woman contacted us who had been approved for euthanasia. She was in a similar situation, but it was her arthritis that was very bad, and what she needed was some help. And we provided help for her, and now she's happy to be living with dignity rather than being killed by lethal injection.
That's so wonderful to hear. I mean, I'm curious about this, Alex. I mean, how did Canada get here to have such disregard for the sanctity of human life?
It's gone very fast. We first had a court decision dealing with someone with ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, and then the Parliament legalized euthanasia, but they said you had to be terminally ill, but they didn't really define it that way. And then a Quebec court struck that down, and now they're extending it to people with mental illness. They say they're talking about right now. There's a committee in government talking about euthanasia for mature minors, which means children, of course, and that they can add it to someone's power of attorney. So you would declare ahead of time you want to die by euthanasia, and when you become incompetent, they could then kill you. And this is the kind of thing that's going on, and it's just rolling along. And the problem is once you say it's okay to kill somebody, then the whole thing then opens wide open, because, well, if it's okay to kill somebody for one reason, why not another? And this is exactly it. They say, well, terminal illness wasn't good enough, because what about the people with chronic illness? And on we go. And this is exactly the situation that we're facing. It's just exploding, and it's very distressing.
Alex, what's behind this? I mean, does it have anything to do with money and financials?
Well, we have a universal healthcare system. So the recent article that was just published in the National Post today, the author referred to it as a universal death care system, sadly. But in fact, the other side would never talk about money. But what you do get is you get this big pressure, because the whole healthcare system recognizes that, euthanasia is cheap. Medical care is expensive. On top of it, you have this social pressure that's been created, because there's been story after story after story in our media of people who died by euthanasia and how this was such a wonderful death. And so they've been, glorifying this in the same way as you get a suicide contagion effect when someone dies by suicide, and all these people hear about it, that you get other suicides. We're getting euthanasia contagion effect in Canada.
Stopping it there, and welcome to Make Your Reaction Reviews, where we reaction reviews to things on the internet. Same day, same shirt, different video. And today we're reacting to this thing that's going on in Trudeau's country, where people are being euthanized, voluntary euthanasia, just because they cannot afford a better living condition or mental health. I have to admit that for me, I think if someone is actually chronically ill, chronically in pain, that they will probably die without dignity eventually anyway, that it's their right to say if they want to go now or later. I think there should be a path to voluntarily euthanizing yourself. However, I think that person should have to go through actual therapy and actual counseling and really prove that this is really the last step that they have to take. However, it seems like the slippery slope that a lot of people who are anti-voluntarily, people euthanizing themselves, said that this will basically fall onto poor people, right? That a lot of the medical insurance companies will push poor people to just euthanize themselves because it's cheaper for them to just be offed than actually medically help these people, right? I'm not surprised if the sanctity of life isn't being respected, where, I mean, there are countries who think that children should be aborted right before they are pushed out of the birth canal. And some people even pushing the policy or the idea of children being aborted or killed after they're born if, you know, the parent and the doctor sees fit, right? And it's for the same reasons. A lot of people push abortion for financial reasons, for monetary gain. I don't want to have kids because I need to work longer. I need to better my career. I need to better my social and economic standing. I need to make more money. It's always monetary. People are fucking obsessed with money and material possessions. So I'm not surprised the West is obsessed with junk values. So this is basically the same thing, that people are being sort of coerced or romanticized into the idea of euthanizing themselves because of monetary reasons. They can't afford to live. Now, I'm not downplaying that. It must be a really hard situation to be in when you cannot even afford basic living, where you can live with some sort of dignity and pride in yourself, when you can't afford water or electricity or food or clothing, or to even present yourself to the public. You can't afford a shower or bathe, you know, whatever. I can understand the mental toll that puts on a person. I dealt with bedridden depression. I totally understand the feeling of just the most gut-wrenching, soul-draining despair, where you really are just giving up on life. I understand where someone is at mentally, where they just want to be done with it. As a matter of fact, it was only because, like, that tiny percent that if you off yourself, then you're gonna go to the hot place down below, is one of the only reasons that kept me from offing myself when I was going through really bad depression. So I know what that feels like, and I'm not belittling that, but that person should be offered help. So instead of these states or these countries fixing the system so people can fucking be self-efficient and accountable and responsible, helping them have a better living situation with jobs and not locking people fucking down for 2 fucking years and taking away their communities and taking away their churches and taking away their AA meetings and stuff like that. Instead of fixing the situation and providing them proper help, instead of giving them this option just to off themselves and give up on life. I'm not surprised by this, and I'm not surprised that this is Canada, but this will be coming to the States. So someone in a state near you, it will be happening. Just you don't you worry. And the same thing will probably happen. They will, you know, romanticize it, but eventually it will be the poorest of the poor that will be getting removed from society. I wouldn't even be surprised if the global warming cultish members would push this as an idea of helping the planet, you know, because of population control, so many people. If you really love the planet, you would just euthanize yourself. I wouldn't be surprised if that's another route that they'll eventually go. The thing he said about mature minors, which is basically children, possibly being able to get this euthanasia without their parental consent, is scary to me. The mental gymnastics you go through as an adolescence, and this will probably heavily affect young girls. The anxiety, the social pressure, the depression, your body's changing. If they can convince a whole generation of kids that they're in the wrong bodies, you don't think they can convince a whole generation of kids that it'd be better if they weren't here? Like, you didn't ask to be born. You didn't consent to that. Like, can you imagine being a parent? And like, I don't know if I even want to go down that rabbit hole. Like, I was talking to a friend the other day about the whole kids transitioning. And now in some states, they don't even need parental consent to transition and get surgery in medical procedures that's going to completely transform their life forever. If we get to a point where a kid can do that, the consent thing goes out the window. That in itself is a slippery slope. If a kid, a 14, 15, 16, 12-year-old can consent having their body parts removed and stunting their puberty and stunting their mental growth, like making decisions that will permanently affect the rest of their life, if they can consent to that as children, then why can't they consent to anything else? Why can't they consent to any other adult behavior? And now if they can consent to euthanasia, if they can consent to offing themselves without their parents being involved, then why couldn't they consent to anything else? Like, that in itself is a slippery slope. However, I still stand by the idea if you are chronically ill and you are chronically in pain and you are going to pretty much die eventually anyway of this really horrible death, then you should maybe have the option to peacefully go. I do believe there's a place for that, but it should be heavily regulated, and maybe it's impossible for it to go down this slippery slope eventually anyway. I don't know. But you guys let me know in the comment section below. We're going to continue watching the video.
To me, it's only going to continue to grow unless we change our government, because our current government, and I shouldn't be saying that maybe, but our current government sadly is very pro-death.
This is so concerning. You know, what would you like to see going forward in order to improve the quality of life for those who may be low income or disabled, so they don't consider euthanasia?
Well, the fact is that we have a system where our healthcare system is crumbling. So right off the bat, we have that problem where people are saying, I can't get proper healthcare, but I can get medical aid in dying. So maybe that becomes the answer. You also have a situation where palliative care is being pressured. I think there has to be safe spaces. You know, first of all, I'd like to see the law eliminated and that euthanasia stop. But minimally speaking, we need safe spaces. We need places where people can go, where they can say, I know that I'm here because I will not be in any way threatened by euthanasia. And so our palliative care system has been pressured that they have to also offer euthanasia. So we had the Delta Hospice Society, for instance, in British Columbia, that was defunded, and then they tried to shut it down because it refused to provide euthanasia. And all these kind of things go on because that euthanasia lobby continues to push. And now the latest push by the euthanasia lobby is that religiously affiliated medical institutions must also provide, and they're putting a big push on our provincial governments that this must also happen, that religiously affiliated institutions must also do it. And this is where they're going. They want no limits to this. Someone says, oh, we can have a little bit of this and it's just for the suffering. First of all, I don't believe in killing people, but you're never going to get a little bit. It's always going to expand, because if it's only a little bit, then what about those other cases and the other cases and the other cases? Then they start saying, well, limiting it is discrimination. And that's exactly what's happened in Canada. You know, it becomes discrimination to limit it.
This is so unbelievable. But thank you so much, Alex, for taking the time to speak with us.
Wow, that's crazy. So like he said, you know, maybe there just isn't a space for it without it going down a slippery slope. Anyway, guys, tell me what you think of this entire story. It is cray-cray. Again, I do think this will, if it's not already in the United States, it will be in the United States at some point. Let me know if you think that voluntary euthanasia should be at all available for anybody, whether it's chronically ill or you just don't want to be here anymore, or if it should be completely and utterly outlawed and banned because there's no way to prevent the slippery slope from happening. Let me know in the comment section below. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and hit that bell to get notifications when I do upload. All of that really does help with the algorithm, guys. And if you'd like to support the channel any further, you can donate. My PayPal link is in the description box below, also in the comment section. Of course, it helps, but you don't have to. You can just like, comment, and subscribe. Another great way to support this channel is either join my brand new membership program, different levels, different tiers, different perks, or you can visit my brand new merch shop. Links down below, and links to all of the alternative platforms I'm on: my Odyssey, my Minds.com, my Rumble, my Twitter, and all the other YouTube channels I have. The links are down below. I implore you to go follow me on alternative platforms because I still have 2 strikes on my YouTube channel. So if I do disappear, we can still communicate. And if you like, you can super thanks. I also have a second travel vlog channel. I travel as a lifestyle. I live abroad. If you'd like to know where I am in the world, you can go in the description box below and also in the comment section. Hit the link. Go subscribe to my travel vlog channel or follow me on my travel Instagram. My stories is usually what's up most up to date. And you guys have an amazing day.